Jai Hind everyone. My name is Atul Sood. I am working in this college as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Now in this lecture series, I will be discussing about the second unit of Basic Electrical Engineering course that is related to steady state analysis of AC circuits. So in the today's lecture, I am going to cover all these contents starting with the definition of AC, then advantages of AC over DC, why sine wave waveform is used, generation of sine wave, important terminologies, and the last one is the values of AC voltage and current. So let's begin today's lecture with the definition of AC. So an alternating quantity is the one which changes periodically both in magnitude as well as in direction with respect to time. So as you can see in the two waveforms, the first waveform it is for the AC voltage and the second is for the AC current. So in both the cases you can see this particular quantity it is changing both in magnitude as well as direction with respect to time. So it is called the alternating quantity. Now why we prefer AC over DC? Because in the earlier years DC was used, but with the advent of AC there were many advantages that were found in case of AC system as compared to the DC system. So now I will point major advantages of AC over DC. So the first one is that alternating voltages can be stepped up or stepped down efficiently by means of a transformer. Now we know a transformer is a static device which works on the principle of mutual induction. So as the rate of change of flux it is only possible in case of AC, that's why this AC is more preferred as compared to DC, because we can step up and step down the voltage level. So what is the advantage of stepping up this voltage level? Because we know that power has to be transferred over a long distance. Now to transmit that particular power, we want the value of the current should be minimum, because there are two advantages if we can reduce the value of current. First, the system becomes very economical, and the second, the system becomes more efficient. Now how the system becomes more economical, let us understand in this way, that we know that area of the cross section of the conductor it depends upon the current carrying capability. So if the value of the current is reduced, that means the weight of the conductor material required it will be reduced, and similarly we know the power loss is I square R loss. So when the value of current will be reduced, then the power loss will also be reduced. So this was the first and foremost advantage, that's why we prefer AC for the transmission purpose. Second, AC motors are cheaper and simpler in construction as compared to DC machines. So this thing I will cover in detail in the fourth unit when we will discuss about all the machines that are DC machines as well as AC machines. And thirdly, the switch gears that are used for AC system, it is simpler as compared to DC system. So by switch gear we means all the protective equipment that we are using any electrical distribution system such as switches, circuit breaker, fuse, etc. The reason for this is that in case of AC we get a natural zero. So it is very easy to break that particular AC as compared to DC system where we don't get that natural zero. That's why AC system are more simpler as compared to DC system. So these are the major advantages of using AC over DC. Next is, when we say AC, then the first thing that comes to our mind is a sinusoidal waveform. Now we have other types of waveform also, such as triangular wave, square wave also. Then why only we prefer this sine waveform? So in this slide I have pointed out all the major advantages of using a sine waveform over any other type of waveform. So the sine waveform produces the least disturbance in the electrical circuit and is the smoothest and the efficient waveform. So, by this we mean that the distortion that occurs to a sine wave, it is minimum as compared to any other type of waveform when it passes through any linear R, L or C circuit. Okay. So, in this case, as the distortion is minimum, so we generally prefer a sine wave over any other type of waveform. Second thing, again for the construction of AC machines, it is simpler as compared to the DC machine. And the third one is the mathematical computation connected with the alternating current are much simpler with the this type of AC sine waveform. So, as we know that for AC circuit analysis, we generally use this differentiation and integration. So, we know that if we integrate or differentiate a sine function, again it will result in a sine function. So, that is why the mathematical computation, it is again very easy with the help of this sine waveform. And lastly, we can use the Fourier series analysis to represent any particular periodic waveform. That means whether we have a triangular wave, square wave. So, all other types of waveform, they can be represented by a sine wave of a fundamental or a higher order frequencies. That is why we generally call this sine wave as the mother of all waveform, because all other waveform, they can be represented by a sine wave. So, because of this, we generally prefer a sine wave over any other type of waveform. Now, the next question arises, how to generate this particular alternating voltage and current. Now, there are two ways by which we can generate this alternating voltage. So, first one is by rotating a coil at a constant angular velocity in a uniform magnetic field, and second by rotating the magnetic field at a constant angular velocity within a stationary coil as shown in the figure. So, with the help of this figure, now I am going to discuss this concept. Basically, we know that according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, now in this case, due to the rate of change of flux, the EMF will be induced in the coil. So, for simplification purpose, we have considered only one coil, and there are two coil sides of this, that is marked as AB is the one coil side and CD is the another coil side. So, as we are going to move this particular coil with the help of any mechanical means, so due to that there will be rate of change of flux and the EMF will be induced in this coil. So, you can see here the electrical load is connected across P and Q terminals. So, the current will flow through this electrical load. So, this is the basic function of AC generator. Now, in the other way, what we can do, we can rotate this magnetic field and keep these coils as stationary. So, this particular concept, it is generally used in case of large AC generators. So, this is how we can generate AC voltage waveform. Now, what will be the equation for this alternating voltage and current, that I am going to cover in this slide. Now, if we consider a rectangular coil of n turns rotating in anti-clockwise direction with an angular velocity of omega radian per second in a uniform magnetic field, the EMF induced in the coil will be sinusoidal. Now, this thing can be explained with the help of these two figures. So, you can see here in the first figure, we have a rectangular coil that is placed in a uniform magnetic field, and the flux in that particular case, it is represented by phi m. Now, with the help of a mechanical means, if we rotate this particular coil as shown in figure 2, so by rotating this particular coil by an angle theta, which is equal to omega t, now this phi max can be resolved into two components. So, first one is phi m sin omega t and second is phi m cos omega t. Now, as you can see here, this phi m sin omega t, it is parallel to the plane of the coil. So, this will not induce any EMF in the coil. But the second component, that is phi m cos omega t, as you can see here, it is perpendicular to the plane of the coil. So, this phi m cos omega t is responsible for the EMF induced in the coil. So, here I have summarized these 2 points. So, these 2 components are, first one component parallel to the plane, that is phi m sin omega t, and the second one is the component perpendicular to the plane, that is will induce EMF in the coil. Now, according to the Faraday's law, we know that V is equal to minus d phi by dt. So, here the amount of flux linkage, it is given by n phi m cos omega t. So, this is the component of the flux that will be perpendicular and will be responsible for the EMF induced in the coil. Now, here as we can see that n and phi m, they are constant. So, they are taken outside. So, if we differentiate this cos omega t with respect to t, so it will be omega will come outside and the differentiation of cos will be minus sin omega t. Now, we have one more minus sign that represents the Lenz's law. So, these two minus sign, they will get cancelled out with each other and we will get the equation for EMF induced equal to n phi m omega sin omega t. Now, when this omega t will be equal to pi by 2, at that particular time this sign will become equal to 1. So, the quantity will be maximum. So, that can be represented by Vm. So, Vm will be equal to n phi m omega. Now, if I replace this Vm in the above expression, so we will get V equal to Vm sin omega t. So, where small v, it is the instantaneous value and Vm, it is called the amplitude or the peak value or the maximum value of the alternating quantity. So, this is the expression for alternating voltage. Now, let us solve one numerical related to this. So, it is given that an alternating current is given by I equal to 141.4 sin 314t. So, in this case, as I told you that this 141.4, it will be the Im, maximum value of the current, and here omega, that is given to us in the form of 314. So, value of omega is 314 and the value of Im, it is 141.4. So, we have to find out these particular values. First is maximum value. So, maximum value, as I told you, it is 141.4. Frequency we can calculate using the relationship. We know that omega is equal to 2 pi f. So, f will be equal to omega by 2 pi. So, we will put the value of omega equal to 314. So, the frequency comes out to be equal to 50 hertz. Now, the third is time period. So, time period, it is inversely proportional to frequency. So, it comes out to be equal to 1 by 50, that is 0.02 or 20 millisecond. And the instantaneous value of this current at time equal to 3 millisecond. So, we know that I is equal to 141.4 sin 314t. So, simply put the value of t equal to 3 millisecond. So, if we replace this time by 3 millisecond, so I will come out to be equal to 114.35 ampere. So, in this way we can solve this numerical using the alternating voltage equation or the alternating current equation. Now, coming to the important AC terminologies. So, these are the important terms that we are going to use frequently during our future discussion. So, let us understand one by one all these particular terms. So, first one is waveform. So, a waveform, it is the shape of the curve obtained by plotting the instantaneous value of voltage or current as ordinate against the time. So, you can see in this particular waveform all the instantaneous value, if they are plotted and they are joined together, so it will take the shape of a waveform. So, in this we have shown an AC alternating voltage waveform. Second is the instantaneous value. So, as we have seen in the expression small v or small I, it represents the instantaneous value. So, the definition of instantaneous value is the value of an alternating quantity at any instant, it is called instantaneous value. The instantaneous value of alternating voltage and current, they are represented by small v or small I. The third term is cycle. So, one cycle is a set of complete positive and negative values of an alternating quantity. So, if we refer to this particular waveform, you can see here the one set of positive and negative half, it completes one cycle. Next is alternation. So, one half cycle of an alternating quantity is called an alternation. So, if we take positive set or negative set, so one half, that will be called as an alternation of an alternating quantity. And the last one is the time period. So, a time period, as we know, it is the time to complete one cycle of an alternating quantity. So, that is called a time period, and we know that time period, it is denoted by capital T, and the relationship is T is inversely proportional to frequency. Now, next thing is the values of an alternating voltage and current. That means, we can represent any alternating voltage or current with the help of all these particular three values. So, either we can represent an alternating voltage or current by its peak value, or second method is by using the average value, and the third method is by using the RMS value. So, let us understand one by one each of them. So, starting with the peak value. So, it is the maximum value attained by an alternating quantity. So, as you can see in the waveform, the maximum value that is attained by this alternating quantity, it is called the peak value. So, it is generally represented by Vm for voltage or Im for current. Now, this peak value, it is generally used only for the testing purpose. Second is average value. So, we know that how to calculate any average value. So, average value of a waveform is the average of all its value over a period of time. That means, the formula will be total area under the curve for time t divided by total time t. So, one important aspect of this average value is that if you take any particular symmetrical waveform like an alternating voltage quantity. So, for all the symmetrical waveform, as the positive set is equal to the negative half. So, over a complete cycle, you will find the average value will come out to be equal to 0. So, that is why for any particular symmetrical waveform, average value always means the half for the half cycle. So, let us understand this average value with the help of this particular example. Here again, I will find out the relationship of average value to the maximum value of current for any alternating sine quantity. So, here you can see I have taken one alternating current sine wave. So, here this small I represents the instantaneous value, Im represents the maximum value, and theta is the angle. Now, if we want to find out the average value, so as I told you that we will take only a half cycle, because for a complete cycle again the average value will come out to be equal to 0. So, if we consider the half cycle, so in case of this half cycle, consider the positive half like I have considered in this example. So, if we find out how much is the area for the half cycle, so for that I have to integrate it from 0 to pi, and the expression will be I d theta. So, this I, it will be represented by replaced by Im sin theta. So, as you can see again this Im, it is the maximum value being constant, I will take outside. So, integration of sin theta, this will be minus cos theta, and we will put the limits from 0 to pi. So, the area of the half cycle, that will come out to be equal to 2 Im. Now, this is the area of the half cycle, and if we want to find out the average value, we have to divide it by the base. So, the base we will take it from 0 to pi, that means the value of base length will be equal to pi. So, the I average comes out to be equal to 0.637 times Im. So that means the average value, it is 0.637 times the maximum value for a sine quantity. So same thing as is applicable to the alternating voltage also. Now the problem with this particular average value is that over a complete cycle the value comes out to be equal to 0. So this particular value cannot be used for the determination of power, because we know that power is a scalar quantity and it is the average value that is taken over a complete cycle. Then what is the solution for that? The solution is that we can use the RMS value or the effective value. Now let us first understand what do we mean by a RMS value. So RMS value of an alternating current is that steady current. So steady current means the DC current, which when flowing through a given resistance for a given time produces the same amount of heat as produced by the alternating current when flowing through the same resistance for the same time period. That means the work done by this particular DC current, it will be equal to that particular of AC current for the same time period. So for example, when we say that the RMS or the effective value of alternating current is 5 ampere, it means that the alternating current will do work in the form of producing heat at the same rate as produced by the direct current under the similar condition. That means this RMS value of AC, it is the DC equivalent. The work done by 5 ampere AC will be equivalent to the work done by 5 ampere DC. So for all these computational work, we generally prefer this RMS value. Like if we say that in our homes we are getting 230 volt AC supply, so it means it is the RMS value of the voltage. Now again I will derive the expression for the relationship between the RMS value and the maximum value of current. So here again RMS means root mean square, that means square root of the mean of the squared value of ordinates. So here first we have to square these ordinates. So ordinate in this case is current. So I will square this particular current. So you can see here, if I square this current waveform, it will look like as shown in this figure. So it will become I square. Now again it is, I can take the limit from 0 to pi or 0 to 2 pi, it means one and the same thing, because again you can see it is a periodic waveform which is repeating after every pi interval. So for simplicity I have taken it as from 0 to pi. So I will integrate this I square from 0 to pi. So again this I, that is the instantaneous value, can be replaced by Im sin theta. So it will become Im square sin square theta. Now Im being constant, I will again take it outside. So Im square comes outside. In the integration we have sin square theta d theta. Now again if I integrate this thing, so we know that sin square theta is equal to 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. So if we solve this particular expression, we will get this particular RMS value as 0.707 times Im. So IRMS is equal to 0.707 times Im. That means the RMS value is equal to 0.707 times the maximum value of current. So similarly we can derive the expression for voltage, in which we will have Vrms equal to 0.707 times Vm. So we have seen all these particular three terms. First is the peak value, that is Vm or Im. Second is average value. So average value is equal to 0.0637 times maximum value, and RMS value, it is equal to 0.707 times maximum value. Now next thing is the form factor and peak factor in this. So form factor, it is the ratio of the RMS value to the average value. So we have derived the expression that in terms of maximum value, RMS value for a sine wave, it will be 0.707 times maximum value, and average value is 0.637 times of maximum value. So form factor for a sine wave, it will always be equal to 1.11. Similarly, the peak factor, it is the ratio of the maximum value to the RMS value of an alternating quantity. So that means again the ratio is maximum to the RMS value, maximum value is your Vm or Im, and the RMS value is 0.707 times maximum value. So the peak factors come out to be equal to 1.414. So you should remember this thing, that for a sine wave, whether it is current waveform or voltage waveform, the form factor will be 1.11 and 1.414 respectively. So this particular form factor and peak factor, they are very important for finding out, like in case of any particular design of a cable. So a cable should wear the maximum value. So this peak factor is used in case of designing of a cable. So with this I finish with my first lecture. Thank you.